Ah, Eurogamer, my beloved source of all misinformation in regards to gaming. What do you have for us today? Let's see here. Assassin's Creed Shadows tops 2 million players, surpassing launches of Origins and Odyssey. Thank you for joining the journey in feudal Japan. Wow, that word really messes with my dyslexia. I thought that said federal Japan for a second. Oh, wow, 2 million players. You know what I notice about 2 million players is that the word players is not the word sales. And this game needed to have 10 million copies sold to break even. I was doing a little bit of number running while editing the video, and it's actually closer to around 8 million copies sold for them to break even. I really assumed that the delay of the game really added to the cost, but it was only around $21 million, so it's not that bad. So yeah, 8 million copies to be sold. Maybe just under 8 if you factor in like the deluxe editions and such. So 2 million players is not exactly inspiring, especially when you consider how many of these players are coming from the subscription services. Like, what is it? USB Plus or USB Ubisoft Plus or whatever. I would imagine a big chunk of the player base are utilizing that subscription service, because otherwise, like, where are these gaps getting filled in? Assassin's Creed Shadows has now surpassed launches of AC Origins and Odyssey. I'm gonna need to get a second opinion on this. Let me go ask ChatGPT, now that it has access to the internet. Let me go ask it what it has to say on the matter. Oh, look at this. Okay then. So, it's true. I asked it and it has verified that Assassin's Creed Shadows has surpassed Assassin's Creed Odyssey by a whopping 2,000 players. Let me use some quick math on the matter. That is a whopping, like, what, 3% increase? Not exactly my definition of incredible, but yeah, 64,000 concurrent players on Steam as of March 20th. And now, March 26th, we went from 64,000 to 37,000. So half of the player base beat the game in a matter of 6 days. Hey, that seems about right. That seems about reasonable. However, none of these numbers are adding up to the 2 million that they're celebrating here, and definitely nowhere near the 10 million that they actually needed to break even on the production of this game. Like, this tactic of hyping up their mediocre game should, like, make me angry. Like, I should be ticked off right now, but it's hard for me to feel anything other than sad or disappointed. I grew up with Assassin's Creed. I played the originals. I was there for day one of all of their games. I used to think Ezio Auditore was like the best, like, sneaky dude around, like, you know, no Sam Fishers or none of the Solid Snakes or none of the James Bonds. Like, they ain't got nothing on Ezio. Now it's like I just find myself caring so little about Assassin's Creed, because it's like they're not even making games for fans of Assassin's Creed anymore. They're making games that their investors would love the idea of on paper. So if you are a suit who's putting hundreds of thousands of dollars into this company, you're probably eating it up, you know, until the sales numbers come back around at the next earnings call. But if you are a player investing your time, like, are you getting your money's worth? I want to know. Why are you so salty about Shadows? It's actually fun. Well, the reason I'm so salty is, as much fun as you're having, like, you are entitled to your own fun, but the big reason I'm so salty is that the bar keeps getting lower and the development structure keeps moving away to where these Assassin's Creed games are not even recognizable anymore. We need some proper return to form. You think the Yasuke haters are wrong? It's not historical? Well, you see, the thing with Yasuke is it doesn't even matter. I actually almost appreciate them pushing this whole Yasuke history nonsense, because it's the ultimate mining canary. It is something so blatantly incorrect and just wrong that it was really indicative to prepare me for all the other nonsense that's going to be wrong with the game. And most of the people, whether for or against it, that are arguing about the Yasuke thing are really missing the point. It doesn't matter if they invent some new character, if that character is compelling. And it doesn't really matter how historical they want to be. But when they come out and put out a character that doesn't seem to make sense, doesn't fit within the genre, and then really harp on about how historically accurate they're actually being, it feels disingenuous and worse, unnecessary. Like the actual gameplay style of Yasuke is probably one of the biggest issues too. The game is like halfway built around curating an experience for somebody who is not an assassin. It doesn't feel like he belongs in an Assassin's Creed game. Like if anything, Yasuke should have been a DLC character for For Honored. For Honored is very heavy on the alternate history. Like one of its main characters is a female knight in armor, and like nobody really cared. It wasn't portraying itself as being 100% accurate. And then that character was cool and fun to play as and fit within the overall story and like the vibe of For Honor. Whereas Yasuke doesn't fit in Assassin's Creed at all in any capacity, whether historically or like for the gameplay itself. He's not a historically accurate depiction of the actual human being, which the developers seem to care about, but you know, your average player probably doesn't. But worse than that, he's not an assassin in a game called Assassin's Creed. He really should have been a secondary character or just not existed. Why didn't you mention the bugs? The game is a mess. It is a Ubisoft game we're talking about. The way modern games are made nowadays, you kind of have to have like bug-proof glasses on while you're playing them. The thing is, like, games can be enjoyed despite their bugs. Like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, filled with bugs. None of them were game breaking and none of them took me out of the moment in like a negative way. Unlike, you know, Stalker 2, overall I enjoyed the game, but it like barely ran and it had all kinds of crazy glitches that were really annoying, but I still found a way to enjoy the game. And like Ubisoft, they're gonna release updates like crazy probably and get these bugs out of here. The issue is bugs can be patched. In a game that's this enormous with this much detail and stuff, like there's gonna be bugs. It's almost unavoidable. Those can be fixed. What cannot be fixed is the inherent design decisions. Like you cannot fix having conflicts between dual characters. You cannot fix writing decisions or the poor story decisions. I'm sure whatever bugs or glitches are apparent are, you know, par for the course for Ubisoft. That's nothing new. But the Assassin's Creed game not being what Assassin's Creed fans want, that's not a bug that can be patched. Do you think GTA 6 will crush Shadows? I think this game is going to be swept under the rug by the community in a mere matter of weeks. Never mind a bigger game coming out this year, getting everybody's attention. That won't even be necessary. Shadows is going to go completely out of anyone's radar as soon as their favorite content creator is done making videos on it. For your normal modern game process, you intend for you to hold your player base attention by either having a very well put together long like single player experience, or you have some kind of updates that go along with it to kind of keep your players coming back. And I really think Assassin's Creed Shadows is going to struggle with both aspects. There's not a lot in the game to keep players around for very long, and any updates that come out, even if they're well received by a handful of the community, a handful of the player base, the problem is it's not going to be received at all by a large enough amount of players to actually matter. And that really brings me back to the whole like 2 million players thing. How many of those 2 million players are downloading the game from Ubisoft Plus, playing it, and then uninstalling it within a single play session? And like, how many people downloaded it off of Xbox or Steam or Sony and then returned the game because they just didn't like what they saw? Like, there were some people who were excited to throw down with Yasuke, and other people who were more excited to achieve that more Assassin's Creed experience from what's her name? Yahweh, something like that. And there's a good chance that both of these players aren't getting satisfied because they didn't focus on either of them. Genuinely, I feel like the game probably would have been better if they really wanted to make a story about Yasuke, that they just stuck with him. The two-player thing, I think, is one of the game's biggest flaws right now. So it would have been easier just to combine the characters, either only make a game with the chick or only make a game with Yasuke. Having them both there for the player to choose means that the player feels like neither character is really that important. Having them both there, it's doing both the characters a disservice, because either the player is going to resonate with just one, and then half of the game is going to be about a character they don't care about, or they're not going to freaking connect to either character, which I think is what's likely happening. The first barrier for getting into this narrative-driven single-player experience is the character, or characters in this case. And so most people, it's just probably going to leave a bad taste in their mouth, and they will not care about anything else. They're not going to believe the lies from Eurogamer or from Ubisoft, and they're not going to come back for any more updates that as Ubisoft may put out for this game. It's really saddening to see the state of the series, but maybe it's what is needed. Maybe this will be the thing that puts Ubisoft 6 feet under, and then they get bought out by the Chinese, and then the Chinese make a proper Assassin's Creed game. You know, fingers crossed.